Hey guys, All in Crypto here and welcome back for another YouTube video. So in this video guys, like the title says, I'm going to compare Bitcoin with altcoins. The title says versus, but I don't really think there should be necessarily a competition between Bitcoin and altcoins. I think if Bitcoin moves, the altcoins move. It's kind of like a tide. When it rises, all the ships sort of rise with it. And for a lot of the altcoins to actually succeed, you need Bitcoin to succeed because it's where the majority of money is in the market. Do I think later on down the line some of the money, when we talk about altcoin season and stuff like that, a lot of the sort of big money in Bitcoin does often trickle down into some of the altcoins. But the purpose of this video is really to compare how much money you could make with Bitcoin versus altcoins. And I'm going to give you my opinion on whether I think you can make more money in Bitcoin or altcoins, or vice versa. And just a quick side note, some people out there might be getting annoyed that I'm talking about how much money you can make and say it's not all about that, it's about the sort of technology and the fundamentals of these projects and the use cases, etc., etc. That's all brilliant. I think that's fantastic, but I don't think the crypto market is largely traded on the use case and fundamentals of the projects. I think at the moment it's still a very speculative market. I think more people invest in coins based on speculation than they do fundamentals and use case, which is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to make money. I do understand that, and one reason I'm such a fan of Bitcoin is genuinely because I believe that money should be in the hands of people. It shouldn't be controlled by governments and central banks who can ultimately dictate your standard of living through it via things such as inflation, deflation, borrowing rates, bonds, all this sort of stuff. I don't think the government should have a part to play in that. I think that should very much be, I believe in free markets, and I think Bitcoin could potentially come and solve that problem. But that's a whole nother video, a whole nother debate. So really, like I say, I want to focus on Bitcoin versus altcoins. What are you going to make more money in? And like I've just previously sort of tried to state, I do believe that the majority of people, I'd say 90%, if not 95% of people, are in this market to make money. They're not in it because they love the sort of cryptography behind the coins and they like, the technology and the trivia and stuff like that. They're in it to make money. There's nothing wrong with that, guys, at all. It's probably the main reason I'm into cryptocurrencies. And the reason I'm going to compare Bitcoin with altcoins is because I genuinely believe that there are certain altcoins out there in terms of percentage and in terms of the sort of return on your money that are going to make bigger gains than Bitcoin. And I hope to kind of explain to you and give you a rough idea of what these coins are that I believe are essentially going to outperform Bitcoin. The markets today, like I say, we're still in a bit of a down day. XRP's down 14%. That hurts for a lot of people, but if you watch my previous XRP videos, you'll understand that it's just, this is nothing new. But let's get straight into this video and let's start by sort of looking at the percentage gains year to date. We're going to start with Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin chart. And a year to date, Bitcoin is up 145%, which is fantastic. It's brilliant. There are a number of coins that have actually outperformed Bitcoin. I think one reason we have so much faith and so much money coming into Bitcoin is because it's a lot more of a sure bet than a lot of the other altcoins. I think when we hear about big companies and big firms and corporations putting money into Bitcoin and holding Bitcoins on their books, a lot of the reason they choose Bitcoin is because it's kind of like this. If you gave me £1 million to play with of other people's money, I'm not going to go and stick that £1 million into crappy little, coins that, aren't as proven and as tried and tested as Bitcoin. The reason I'm not going to do that is because if I lose that money, and there's a higher likelihood of me losing that money, I'm going to have a lot of very angry people that are going to question why I actually put the money into those markets. Whereas it's kind of like a you jump in first mentality with a lot of these companies. They can almost go, well, MicroStrategy did it first or something like that. So it's more of a safe bet for people to put their money into Bitcoin. It's one reason Bitcoin captures so much of the market, I believe. But do I believe you're going to get a greater return on investment through other altcoins? I absolutely do. That's not knocking Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's going to perform fantastically throughout this bull market and further on down the road. But I really genuinely believe that certain altcoins will outperform Bitcoin. Bitcoin, like I say, is up 155% year to date. Ethereum now, we're going to take a quick look at, is up 282% year to date. So it's very easy for us to look back in hindsight and kind of say, well, I definitely have much rather put my money into Bitcoin to Ethereum than I would Bitcoin because it's a high return on your investment. However, it doesn't work like that it's only a very sort of specific few altcoins that works for. There's a hell of a lot of altcoins, and I'm going to share with you one altcoin that I invested in that's been a huge disappointment for me. Because I thought it would give me a sort of high return on investment than Bitcoin, whereas I actually got burnt doing that. I'd have been significantly better playing it safe and sticking with Bitcoin. Okay, it might be boring, but we all know the story of the hare and the tortoise. The tortoise, which was slower, won the race. I'm not going to explain that story to you guys, but if you're going to go with the safer investment, certainly if you're playing with larger amounts of money. But let's continue looking at some of these projects and how they performed year to date. So let's just recap. Bitcoin's up 155%, Ethereum's up 282%. So it's significantly outperformed Bitcoin, nearly doubled the sort of return on investment that Bitcoin would have given you. We've got XRP here, which is only up 128%. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to talk to you about market caps and why market caps may be misleading in terms of your return on investment. You would think with a smaller market cap, you would be more likely to sort of double and receive a greater return on investment based on the flow of money actually into those market caps being significantly smaller. However, it doesn't always work like that. A lot more money has been needed to move Bitcoin up 155% than to move XRP up 128%. Yet, Bitcoin's outperformed XRP a year to date. The last coin that I want to share with you is a coin I've actually been in for significantly longer than a year. I think I first heard of this coin through a man called, I think it was on London Real, or it was Tika Tawari, who's he came up with this thing called 5 coins to 5 millions, and I think this was one of them. And when I sort of looked into it and got to grips with it, I thought, yeah, he could have a point. I don't think I invested in any of the other coins, but I certainly invested in this one, and it has been extremely profitable. A year to date, Chainlink is up 581%. It significantly outperformed all the other altcoins and Bitcoin. Well, let me rephrase that. All the other altcoins I've just previously shown you. There are altcoins out there that have significantly outperformed Chainlink, but they are sort of a very unsteady bet. And a lot of those coins that have outperformed Chainlink have sort of subsequently come down at the other end. And some of them are 90% down, 95% down, and some of them aren't even about anymore. So those coins you really don't want to be getting involved with. The nice thing about Chainlink is it's somewhat held what it's achieved, and it doesn't look to me to be a bad investment. I think there's plenty more to come from Chainlink. So if you look at it, Bitcoin has outperformed a lot of the altcoins. However, there are certain altcoins, going back to the point I made at the start of this video, basically saying I do believe there are going to be a number of altcoins that outperform Bitcoin. There are a number of altcoins that have actually outperformed Bitcoin. And the reason for me making this video, guys, is I genuinely want as many people as possible to be involved in the crypto space to actually make money. And one reason that I sort of want people to get involved in the crypto space, bearing in mind, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take this as financial advice because you need to do your own research. Don't just go and buy something because I've said do your own research. calculate in your own head your risk to reward, which I'm going to talk about in a minute as well, and come up with your own sort of direction that you want to go in this, whether you do want to invest, whether you don't. But I do think it's important for people to have exposure to the crypto market, because all of these coins, and it's becoming increasingly that there's more and more sort of sure bets in crypto, not that anything's necessarily a sure bet, have made money. If you had just had £1,000, let's say, for example, $1,000, and stuck it in a bank, the chances are the buying power of that £1,000 would have gone down, and is going down monthly at the rate that they're sort of printing money. Whereas if you had stuck it in crypto, not just crypto, let me just make a side note, precious metals, there are a number of things, stocks, even though I'm not a big fan of the stock market, I don't think it makes sense, and I think it's sort of very manipulated and propped up. Anyway, that's another story. You're better off putting your money into something and not just having it sat in the bank. The days of the saver is rewarded is long gone. As a saver, you are not rewarded. The borrowers are actually rewarded. The people in debt get more rewarded than the people that save their money do, because their debt gets devalued, whereas your savings also get devalued with the sort of buying power of money. But I do feel I'm going to make a big video on that, and why inflation's a bad thing, and it's important to have exposure, to have your money in something. But for the purpose of this video, which is really Bitcoin versus altcoins, my conclusion with this is there are a number of altcoins in the top 10 that are going to outperform Bitcoin. I'm going to give you 2 of those. I think Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin, and I think XRP is also going to outperform Bitcoin. I think Chainlink possibly, however, it could be a disappointment. I'm not going to add Chainlink to the list. I'm just going to give you 2 altcoins that I think are going to outperform Bitcoin in this next bull run in terms of your the percentage that you get back from your investment. I think Bitcoin's still going to do extremely well. I love Bitcoin. I hold a significantly large portion of Bitcoin. However, I'm going to be honest with you guys when I say this. In terms of Bitcoin, let's say, for example, Bitcoin was 30% of my portfolio. I have around about 60% of my portfolio 70% of my portfolio diversed into other altcoins. Now, the reason for this is if I was playing around with millions or billions of dollars, I would go largely into Bitcoin. I would reverse the roles. I'd buy more Bitcoin than I would altcoins, because it's a safer bet. Because I'm not a millionaire, I still work. I have been fortunate enough to make some significant money from cryptocurrencies, which has allowed me to invest more. I'm still talking about thousands of pounds I'm playing with here. I'm not talking about millions or billions. I'm talking about thousands of pounds I'm playing with. So for me, the risk to reward for me investing in altcoins makes more sense. There's going to be a higher return on investment, I think, in a number of altcoins than there are Bitcoin, and that's why, yes, I have a very large portion of Bitcoin, around about 30% of my portfolio. Ethereum's about equal, so that's 60% of my portfolio gone. But then I have the other 40% invested into various other projects and altcoins. And that's how I structure it. They always tell you to have more money in Bitcoin, but that's really just because it's a safe bet. I wouldn't say that's bad advice. It's just not what I've followed. I've chosen certain altcoins, and I have been wrecked, guys. I'm gonna show you a coin, and this isn't even one of my worst wrecks, that I thought would outperform Bitcoin, because the setup looked great and it had significantly underperformed and been very, very disappointing, and I'd have been better off just going with the safe bet being Bitcoin. I'd have been better off betting on the tortoise than the hare, even though it might not have been as exciting or as, thrilling. I'd have been better off going with the safer option. So a quick recap, guys. Bitcoin's up 155% year to date. Ethereum's up 282% year to date. XRP's up 127% year to date. Chainlink is up 479% year to date. So Chainlink's outperformed these other 3. However, Bitcoin has outperformed XRP. It's also outperformed a large number of other altcoins. So there are only certain altcoins that are going to outperform Bitcoin. And there are times, guys, where Bitcoin is the only mover in the market and altcoins sort of stay stagnant. So it's always good to diversify your portfolio, but it really depends for you. Like I say, the risk to reward for me, it benefits me somewhat to have a more larger hand in altcoins than it does Bitcoin, but still keep a very large sizable chunk in Bitcoin as a safety net. For others, it may not. When you hear, like I say, I'm going to reiterate this. When you hear about these companies investing into Bitcoin, one reason they're not going into altcoins is because they don't want to take that risk. It's somewhat a more safer bet to be in Bitcoin, and nobody's going to want to invest in this coin that could potentially lose them 90%, like we have seen a lot of coins already do in the last sort of year or so. But before I leave you guys, I want to talk to you guys about a project that I invested in that I thought was going to do fantastic. And it moved very much, when these coins were together in the market cap, they very much moved together. They were very much together. And those were Chainlink and Tezos. Tezos is now number 19th. I was very supportive of Tezos because of the people that it had behind it. I think it might have had Tim Draper was a fan of Tezos. And there was a number of people a fan of Tezos. And because of the price of it, I thought, wow, this is fantastic. It also has features like staking and stuff like that. I'm still a fan of Tezos, but it's just to show you that lower market cap coins, I suppose I've not touched on market cap. I probably should quickly make a segment about market cap, but for now, I'm just going to stick with Tezos. Lower cap coins might not always make the sort of moves that you want them to. I'd invested into Tezos thinking that it was going to sort of react in the same way of Chainlink. I got into them around about the same time. And Tezos, I think, year to date, has only given around about a 25% return on your investment. So year to date, it was $1.35. And today, it's $2.11. So it's definitely underperformed the other altcoins that I've shown you. It's actually underperformed Bitcoin, and I'd have been better off, like I say, of keeping my money in Bitcoin and not going for the sort of joyride that Tezos has been. It's largely disappointed me. Yes, I'm still up in it. I'm in profit, but largely it's been disappointing. Is it going to start to move at some point? I do still believe in Tezos. I do still hold Tezos. I've not liquidated any of my Tezos and put it into something else, but it's largely not performed the way that I wanted it to. But let's talk about market cap quickly before I leave you guys to it and let you get on with the rest of your day. Bitcoin, for Bitcoin to 10x, you're talking about nearly a 3.5 trillion market cap. I do think that's possible. When that's possible, I'm unsure. I do think in the long term it's possible, but it's more possible based on market cap, but also isn't if the project that you're getting into is of no value anyway. It's kind of like the market cap doesn't matter at that point. But for certainly projects that have a use case are established. For Ethereum to, so like I say, for Bitcoin's 10x, it's nearly 3.5 trillion market cap. For Ethereum to 10x, it's 600 billion, they're about 630 billion. Which you can almost see how that might be more achievable. For something like XRP it would be 220 billion, which is not even at the sort of market cap of Bitcoin. You could see how that could be very achievable. Like I say, I think both XRP, Ethereum, and Bitcoin are all going to reach over $1 trillion in market cap. I do genuinely believe that. But then if we go down to something like Chainlink, which is only 4 billion, it's only nearly a 50 billion market cap for it to 10x. And if you got into sort of Chainlink when it was sort of $1.30 like I did, not only are you a very happy boy now, you're going to be an even happier boy when this sort of rolls around. And it's still a very small market cap in terms of 50 billion for a sort of asset is very small. So I hope this video has been somewhat helpful. It was just to really sort of compare the sort of returns on investment that these sort of altcoins have had in comparison to Bitcoin. Give you a little bit of my sort of strategy. I have, even though I hold sort of an equal amount of Bitcoin to Ethereum, Bitcoin on its own, I probably have more money in Bitcoin on its own than anything else. But in terms of Bitcoin versus altcoins, I have more altcoins. So I hope this video has been useful for you guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you guys are doing. Let me know if you think I'm an idiot for doing that. Like I say, I've got wrecked plenty of times. In 2017, I got wrecked on a number of ways in 2017. But one way was I invested in sort of to the moon coins, and it just never came. Or I got into them as they were at the moon, and then they sort of plummeted back down to Earth. So please let me know what you think. Please like, share, and subscribe if you found any sort of use for this. Of course, you don't have to; it's entirely up to you. But I look forward to seeing you in the next video, guys. I'm going to be sort of bringing out maybe 4 to 5 videos a week, work dependent. And yeah, guys, keep smashing that like button, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Goodbye.